Hey, good morning, you guys. I wanted to make a quick video today to share with you a message from my personal development. Normally I wouldn't go live this early, but what I found about myself, and you might be able to relate to this, is I come up with these awesome ideas when I'm doing my personal development for value posts, like video posts that are going to add value to your lives and other people's lives. And then I forget about it. It goes out of my head by the end of the day, like with all the thoughts that go on in your mind, like my best ideas that happen during my morning personal development are gone by the end of the day. So it's best if I just post the video while the thought is still in my mind. So this morning I was listening to, it's called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, who is the same author who wrote Start With Why, which I was listening to, the last couple of weeks, but I just started this new book late last week, early this week, today. And it talks a lot about leadership and your roles at work and what leads to happiness at work and what leads to stress and heart disease from work. And I can really relate to this because being that I was a full-time nurse anesthetist and I was in a job that I didn't feel passionate about, and now I'm in a job where I feel like amazingly passionate about, but I'm still trying to find my place in that business and trying to balance my life with my work and things like that. I can really relate to this. Now, he talks about people being laid off, and there's a myth that our job has stability right now, that you working for corporate America or working for a big corporation or a company, that your job, as long as you do a good job and you show up on time and you're at work every day and you don't take too long on your break and you follow the rules and you do the right things and you are nice to people and you're nice to your boss and you do your job, then your job is safe. So we have this myth about job stability and being safe. And I personally have never been laid off or had my job threatened, considering I'm a nurse and then a nurse anesthetist. It's like they can't find enough nurses and nurse anesthetists. So pretty much you're not going to get laid off. And you could get fired if you did something wrong, but you're not really going to get laid off because they never really have enough people or can make budget cuts unless, the state of the economy went so bad that nursing went to the point where you're taking on even more patients and they're laying off nurses. But I doubt that because there's been a nursing shortage for at least 10 years. More than that, but the whole time I've been a nurse, there's been a nursing shortage. So I've never been laid off, but I know a lot of people who have. I know people posted about it recently, and I know like family members and friends who have and lost jobs, and they're juggling jobs, and they're trying to make ends meet, and they're trying to make their families, put food on their table and roofs over their heads for their kids and their families and things like that. And they have this myth that if they do a good job and they show up to work, that their job is stable. But at the end of the day, more and more companies are going towards, it doesn't matter whether you do a good job or not, it's budget cuts and it's numbers. So they crunch numbers, and if you don't make the cut, then your job is gone and you get laid off, and it doesn't matter whether you do a good job or not. Now, that's not in all cases, but he's talking about in general how the world is right now. So the myth of that being stable, which a lot of people tell me because a lot of people that I talk to about becoming coaches are like, oh no, I need the benefits, I need this, I need that, and I could never do what you do because I don't think that it would produce a stable income. But there's really a myth in thinking that your job is always going to be there, because anything could happen or something could happen to you and you might not be able to complete your job, like physically. So there's that myth, and what he was mentioning about is that most people have more fear about going out and doing something different than they do about wanting to change their situation. So more fear than their fear is stronger than their desire to change their situation. And I'm gonna attest to this because I talk to so many people on a daily basis about starting a business like mine and becoming a team member of mine and a business partner of mine, and they're like, fear, because as humans we have this ability to create fear. Our sympathetic nervous system is stimulated. I know this is very technical, and it's the fight or flight response. Like when cavemen saw a bear or an animal that was coming after them, they ran, that the fear took them away. So we still have that, but those fears for our life from like bears and things like that is gone. So instead we apply those fears to other things, like Anything that's outside our little safe, comfortable zone. Anything that's outside of that is fear-provoking and it's not safe, okay? So that's what happens when people think about starting up a business or becoming an entrepreneur or, pursuing some passion that's in their heart because their job is stable. But what a 2011 study in Australia showed that the health condition of a person that is working a job that they don't like, that they're not passionate about, that they actually have more stress and unhappiness and depression and anxiety than someone who doesn't have a job, which I thought was freaking crazy, because I can imagine the stress of not having a job and worrying about where your next meal comes from and how you can pay your bills. I've never been there. I can't imagine that. But the stress of having a job that you don't like or you're not passionate about can be more than the stress of not having a job. And they related this to whether, the biggest thing about whether you felt happiness or depression or anxiety or whatever was how in control you feel about your job. So how much control you feel you have over your job. So for example, as a nurse anesthetist, I didn't have any control over the days that I worked or when I showed up to work or when I left from work or how much I got paid. I mean, really, it was just a standard, here's your hours. Pretty much, most of the nurse anesthetist jobs, these are the hours that you're going to work. Here's when you're going to show up. Here's when you're going to leave. Here's the cases that you're going to do. Here's, the rules that you're going to follow. Here's the team that you're going to work with. It was pretty much the same. It didn't matter where I worked. I mean, it was very similar. Versus being a business owner, it's if I don't want to work in the morning, then I don't. And if I want to work at night, then I do. If I want to take the day off and go do something, then I'll just work harder the next day. I'm not saying that I don't work as a business owner, but I have control over my time and over when I decide to work or when I decide to play. Hey, Kaylee. And that was the biggest factor in whether people felt stressed, depression, and anxiety, was all about how much control they felt they had over their life and over their work. And most, places that you work for and corporations and jobs that you have right now, you don't have a lot of control. So they did another study and they found that people in leadership roles, at the top of the company, say the CEO or the, co-CEO or whoever, the higher up roles, you would think that they'd have more stress and anxiety and depression and things like that because they have more people that they have to, they just have more people that they have to oversee and more leadership that they have to be applied to their job and more responsibilities, and you'd think that they would score higher on stress levels and depression and anxiety and all those things because of their job, the depth and the bigness of their job. But what they found was the people that were actually more stressed and more anxiety, more depression, were the people that were in the basic jobs, the entry-level jobs, the blue collar jobs. And the reason is because, or that's what they found, was the reason they feel, I'm not sure if there was a statistically significant or whatever, was that the people that were in the basic entry-level jobs, they don't have control over their work or their life. They just have to do whatever they're told to do and come to work every day and do the things, and they're not being recognized for their efforts by their boss. And the leaders, they have more control over what they do with their life and their time and how they want to do their work. They actually are, having control over other people. And then the other thing that also led to, unhappiness, depression, anxiety, things like that at your job was not being recognized for your efforts. And he mentioned that, 40% of people that are not recognized for their efforts will disengage from their work. So if their boss doesn't say, good job, or you did great on this project, or, just words of affirmation and things like that, 40% of people, and this was in a study, actually disengage from their job. Now, that reduces to 22% if you're being criticized. So you're being recognized, either criticized or with a positive. So it could be a negative reinforcement or a positive reinforcement. So the percentage actually goes down when they're recognizing you negatively. And it's because you're actually getting attention. Even if it's negative attention, you're getting something. Versus the 40% that are getting nothing, which I thought was another crazy statistic. Now, if you start recognizing people for their job well done and there's efforts and recognition at your work, 1%. It goes down to 1%. people want to be told that they did a good job. People want to feel like they're having an impact, like they're worthy, like, I mean, that their job is important and what they do is valuable. People want to feel valued. And that's the other thing that we do within, you know, our business, within our team, is and I'm sure you see it on my page all the time, even though they don't get as much traction as other posts, is we recognize people when they when they get a business promotion. We recognize people when they have awesome results from our online health and fitness accountability groups. We recognize people when they complete, you know, some of our trainings. We recognize people when they help other people. We recognize people when they help their coaches and their teams and they build a team. So they're being recognized and for their efforts at each step of the journey. And in our business, they have complete control over their time and what they want to do. I, as their mentor, say, like, this is how I built my business, but you don't have to do it this way because you're the CEO of your business, and here's what I did to be successful. But you can take that and you can twist it all around and make it your own and be more successful than me, because it's, you know, it's based on you and your effort. So I thought those were some pretty interesting statistics and from the studies, and I wanted to share that with you in case right now you're sitting at your job and you're going, wow, I can really relate to, like, I have no control over my job and it's really not bringing me a lot of happiness. It's bringing me a lot of stress. It's bringing me a lot of negative depression, anxiety. You have the ability to change it. We all do. And I did. And I know that if I did, then somebody else can, because I was like the most negative Nancy, cup is half empty, super pessimistic. Like, I'll never be an entrepreneur. I'll always work for the man. I'll never have freedom. I'll always be here. I'm stuck person, to having this freedom over my life and in this business that I never thought I would have. So if I could do it, I know that other people can do it. And I'm here to be, you know, proof that you can and you can live a life of your dreams. And right now, instead of being here, I would be, if I were a full-time nurse anesthetist still, I would already be at work. I would already be, it's probably like 7 o'clock or something right now. I'd already be in the operating room delivering my first anesthetic for the day. I would have already been up for like 2-3 hours getting ready for work. So I would get up at 5 o'clock, be in the operating room by 7, and I would literally leave there at 7 o'clock at night and get home at 8. So, and here I am. All I did this morning was wake up, walked my dog, drank a big cup of water, listened to my personal development, hopped on here, made this video. Now I'm getting ready to drink my pre-workout and get my workout in. So freedom over your time, it's just such a different, you know, vibe, and I can relate to where you are, but I know that if I can make that change, that anybody can. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope this was a good, valuable video, and I'll talk to you later. Happy Monday.